Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling a culinary crossover that honestly terrifies a lot of home chefs. How to transition from a classic open gas flame to an induction cooktop without giving up your beloved stir-fry. If you've been wondering how to keep that sizzle alive on a completely flat magnetic surface, you are in exactly the right place. Now, you might look at your brand new glass stove and think, well, there goes my wok. And I get it. It feels totally impossible, right? A traditional wok is round, it practically begs for flames licking up the sides, and it demands some seriously aggressive tossing. Induction, on the other hand, is completely flat, made of delicate glass, and relies entirely on invisible magnetic fields. It really feels like a clash of two different worlds. But today, we are cracking the code on how to make them work perfectly together. So, here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the induction wok dilemma, choosing the right gear, protecting that pristine glass cooktop, a really important warning about warping, and finally, safe seasoning methods. All right, let's jump right into section 1, the induction wok dilemma, physics versus tradition. This immediately brings up the ultimate question, literally the first thing every stir-fry enthusiast asks when they ditch gas. Can you actually get wok hay on induction? Like, is that authentic restaurant flavor even possible without a massive roaring fire? Well, it turns out the secret is just simple chemistry. Wok high, that famous breath of the wok, happens when you hit a super intense temperature threshold. We're talking well over 300 degrees Celsius. That's what causes oil polymerization and sugar caramelization. So it's not actually about having an open flame at all. It's just about raw heat. And let me tell you, induction, it absolutely excels at raw heat. But, and this is a big but, you do have to change up your technique. With gas, you get that dramatic, high vertical toss because the flame continuously heats the air surrounding the pan. Induction needs magnetic proximity, so you've got to transition to a sliding toss. Basically, you keep the rear edge of the wok glued to the glass while lifting the front edge. You're still agitating the food, but you never break that magnetic field. Sure, we might mourn the loss of the flashy fire toss, but your food is going to taste just as incredible. Moving right along to section 2. Choosing the right gear, flat bottoms, and commercial power. If you look at what everyday home cooks are saying, like the huge consensus over on the Ask Culinary subreddit, the verdict is totally clear. A flat bottom is basically not negotiable. A traditional round bottom wok just won't make enough contact with those flat coils. So to actually capture those magnetic waves effectively, you really need a flat-bottomed carbon steel wok. Now, a huge fear people have is that the second you lift the pan, the heat just dies instantly. But here's a really cool fact. Commercial induction engineers point out that high-end units actually project an effective magnetic zone right above the glass, about 20 to 40 millimeters. That means you can pull off these little micro-tosses without ever losing your power continuity. And hey, what if you do lift it a bit too high out of that zone? Well, to put this into perspective, commercial induction cauldrons use up to 30 kilowatts of power to instantly dump massive energy back into the steel the second it touches down. Now sure, your kitchen stove isn't pumping out 30 kilowatts, but the underlying physics are exactly the same. Induction recovers lost heat way faster than a traditional gas flame ever could. Let's slide into section 3, protecting the glass cooktop, shielding your investment. We've got a very practical problem here. How do you vigorously slide a heavy steel pan around without completely destroying that delicate glass? The culinary consensus is to use a silicone mesh protector. Things like the BacoGlide Induction Hob protector act as a heat-permeable shield. Because induction uses electromagnetic energy instead of radiant heat, these mats let the magnetic waves pass straight through to your pan. You get all the power, but absolutely zero scratches, scuffs, or baked-on spills. It's a total game changer for aggressive tossing. All right, section 4, the warping warning, the traffic light effect. Okay, we absolutely need to talk about a major hazard that can literally turn your beautiful new wok into a wobbly seesaw. You see, budget induction hobs just don't heat smoothly. Instead of a nice, steady stream of power, they blast the pan with intense heat, turn off, blast it again. It's exactly like a red and green traffic light. And that concentrated pulsing causes the center of your carbon steel pan to expand incredibly fast, while the edges are still stone cold. The result, severe thermal shock that permanently warps and bends the metal. So before you try cranking up the heat or seasoning your pan, you've got to try this quick water bubble test from culinary expert Papa Mao. It's super simple. Just pour a little water into the wok, turn your cooktop on the absolute lowest setting, and just watch it. If bubbles violently start forming in just one tiny isolated spot right in the center, yep, Your cooktop is a concentrated pan destroyer. If that's the case, you have got to be incredibly careful about how fast you ramp up that heat. Finally, let's hit Section 5, Safe Seasoning Methods, 2 paths to a perfect patina. Our first approach here comes from the School of Woke, and it basically mimics the traditional gas method but adapts it for flat glass. First, you scrub off the factory layer, then carefully burn the base. But here's the real trick. You actually have to meticulously find your stove's exact center of heat, and then manually tilt and rotate the wok's edges right through that hot zone to get the oil to polymerize. It definitely works, but heads up, it takes about 20 minutes of pretty active turning. Or you can try this brilliantly simple alternative. It's the cold and dry method from Papa Mao, and it gives you total control. You start completely cold. Apply a high smoke point oil, like grapeseed, and then, this is key, wipe it out so aggressively that the pan literally feels dry to the touch. You're just leaving a microscopic layer behind. Then, you gently heat it up. It'll polymerize perfectly evenly. No blotchy burns, no sticky spots, and you won't fill your whole kitchen with extreme smoke. But wait. What if your induction stove failed that water bubble test we talked about, and it pulses way too aggressively to safely season? Don't panic. You can just use alternative heat sources to get that gentle, even heat you need. Pop it in the oven at 250 degrees Celsius for an hour, or step outside and use a portable butane camping stove or your gas barbecue. Once you get that initial base layer baked on safely, you can bring it right back inside to the induction stove for your daily cooking. Let's clear up one final really common misconception. True nonstick performance, that comes from proper heat control while you're cooking, not just having some perfect jet black patina. The seasoning is honestly more about rust prevention. As long as you let the pan get hot before you add your fat in your food, it's gonna act like a nonstick surface. And the best part is, you'll naturally build up that beautiful protective layer just by cooking your favorite meals over time. So there you have it. We've completely decoded the physics, tracked down the right gear, figured out how to protect our fragile stovetops, and learned the safest ways to season the metal. Now that you actually know the workarounds, the only question left is, will you adapt your toss and harness the incredible power of induction, or is the open flame just simply too hard to leave behind? Thanks for hanging out with me on this explainer, and definitely keep experimenting in the kitchen.